This episode is brought to you by marketing consulting firm The Bonafide Lyrics and Marketing, LLC, where creativity meets business. You can check us out at www.theblm.com for more information on how we help local artists and creatives maximize their business presence. Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
It's the All Love, No Fear podcast.
Hey.
It's the All Love, No Fear podcast.
Hey.
Check us out. It's the All Love, Oh, No Fear podcast. All Love, Oh, No Fear podcast.
Hey. Yo.
What's up, black people? What's up, African Americans, Africans, West Indians? Hi, everybody.
No Fear podcast.
Yes.
There's a lot of jumping mess. Sorry.
I
was like, yeah.
I thought. First of all, welcome to season 4, episode 2 of the All Love No Fear podcast. Somebody's telling me that I'm making a face and I need to be nice. First of all, this face do what it do. Okay,
it does things.
It does things, and sometimes I just have questions and I just be wanting to know what's going on. Until I get answers, this gonna be the face.
Yes,
respectfully, or not respectfully.
We have questions and follow-up questions, and you want those questions answered.
Listen, that's all I want in life is just to have my questions answered. Am I asking for too much here?
Am I? Questions and follow-up questions, and those questions would like the answer.
I deserve. I deserve. I just was trying to understand what all was happening. I was like, wait, so...
Oh, those messages are Tahira being an old lady.
What she said?
FYI, shout out to people on Patreon. Thank you for the support.
Yes, we appreciate your support.
We support every person who supports us.
Yes, we appreciate y'all. Thank you so much.
You can be a Patreon for as little as $3 a month.
Only $3?
All
right.
Yes, Tara, we can see you there.
Yes, we can see you. I can't read your comments because I'm too far away from the thing.
I'm looking at you.
But he can see because he's got all the gadgets and gizmos and what's it and who's it's on his phone.
Yes. Tara, you're not that old. I don't know why you act so old with technology sometimes. You're not that old.
Technically, Tahira is a Gen X. They're a little challenged.
But she's like a Zennial.
A Zennial?
God bless you.
I don't have COVID, y'all.
She's a Zennial, so she's like on that cusp.
And she's leaning more towards the X cusp part in this moment.
Yeah, she's more cusp.
But, she going through it. But it's all right. We going to figure it out. Together.
Yeah.
Together.
But yeah, shout out to the people. This is the All Love No Fear podcast with your host.
I'm KB, and this is
Mr. Mark Metapoetic Bennett. This is season 4, episode 2. Second episode in this series. Back with the Patreon. We are here.
I'm trying to find all the ways to say two in English.
Live on YouTube. And we are just so happy that everybody's here to support and everything.
Except you. I'm trying to flex my language skills. You're not happy to support me on that at all. It's fine. It's whatever.
I do love you.
Yeah.
My love for you is so strong.
Yeah. Is it?
Strong.
Is it? Because I was trying to let people know my linguistic skills, and you just were not being supportive. So it's whatever though. It's whatever.
Okay. So I was supposed to say thank you for everybody who supports us. Thank you for everybody who listens to our podcast.
We appreciate y'all. Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Yes. You know what you're listening on. I don't got to tell you.
Whatever platform you're using, we thank you for using it.
Thank you for using that platform you're using. I appreciate it. I don't have to tell you what you're using. You know what you're using.
That's fine.
And we'll see you later. We're gonna get right into it.
See them later. I'm like, we got them for another hour and a half.
How are your week?
How was my week? I went to bed at 3 a.m. every day and was woken up round about 7-ish, 8-ish. It was rough. It was trash. Gotta do better. Gotta do better. My child is also trolled, respectfully. Or maybe not respectfully. I don't know. She's a troll. Because, every day she goes to school Monday through Friday. And every day of the week, we had to go wake her up to get her ready for school. But you know what happened on Saturday? 7:15. bright and early. Morning, mommy. It's morning. It was morning. Every morning that we had to come wake you up the last 5 mornings. Why is it suddenly morning today on Saturday when you don't have nowhere to be? Please explain. And then she did it again yesterday, 6:45. I'm like, nah, you got to go back to your bed, sis. Like, I'm not engaging you at 6:45 on a Sunday. No. Guanata me face. So I politely plied her with some toys and sent her on her way to entertain herself until it was time for us to be doing the morning business. Because 6:45 on a Sunday, sis? Wild rude.
Kristen,
wild rude.
I don't know if you know this, but Kristen's a very angry morning person.
I am.
So
I'm not pleasant, so and I don't care.
I might have to start rescuing Avery.
The real gag of it all is that she walks right past your side of the bed
every time
to come to me. I'm like, he's right there.
Yeah, every time.
Ask him.
No,
it's actually more steps for you to get to me. But no, every time. And I just be like, sis, like, you're very cute and I love you, but you have to get out of my face. You have to.
She won't.
She won't. Like, she climbed in the bed this morning and I was just like, fine, just do it quietly. Because it's too early for all this. Go to sleep. Get out. Because she definitely pulled up this morning again at like, and I'm like, yeah, it's a school morning. I appreciate you. But like, also, why are you here at 6:45? What wakes you up that early? There's nothing we need to do that requires us to be up for 6:45. What do you want? What?
She wants to see her mother because she loves her.
I love her so much. She's amazing. She's the greatest kid on planet Earth. However, 6:45 is always too early to be approaching me. Every time. It's always too early.
Word.
Okay? Especially because I'm working from home. It would be different if we were like going to work. Because then I'd be like, I'd already be up at 6:45. But
well, you hope. I
hope. If I'm not, then I'm dangerously late. But yeah, I wasn't interested. But beyond that, you know, and it's my fault because as the adult, I should know that if she's gonna pull up at 6:45, 7 o'clock, that calculating like the numbers with the mathing. If I go to bed at 3,
mathing,
I only get 3 at max 4 hours of sleep. And, you know, that maths every time.
Yeah.
And so,
she,
you know.
And she's pretty consistent at getting up between 7 and 8. So you should probably pull it together.
Right. I think I get offended when it's before 7:30, honestly. I'm very highly offended.
But, you know.
Between 7 and 8 is 7:30. If you hit 7:05, like how is it that I may be of assistance to you? Because you're early.
I get what you're saying, but she has been, like, when she consistently does it becomes our fault.
I just knew that I didn't like it, and that's the bottom line. That's the meat and potatoes. I didn't like it.
All right, so
but it's whatever.
Let's get right into our icebreaker.
We calling it an icebreaker now?
That's what it is.
But we never said that. It's like kind of like a mystery about like what it was. It was like a game that we played. I don't like now. You're naming
next is
it.
our section of who knows. Who knows what this is?
You know what?
For?
I don't know if this podcast is going to make it through this whole season because I'm already sick of you. And we are only on episode 2.
Who knows what's next? Let's find out.
Do one of y'all want to come host this with Mark? Because I'm through. I can be a behind the scenes production assistant.
Who knows what's next?
But I'm tired of this. I'm tired. Truth is, I'm tired.
All right.
Because you want to come in here and change things up. It's been going for 3 seasons. Now you want to come in here and talk about icebreakers. Who said that? Who said that? No one said that.
Okay.
Jesus. So we are now at our love it or lose it. Hey, love it or lose it. Hey, hey, love it or lose it. Hey, love it or lose it. Hey, 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 hey. 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 Wow. But at least you remember the theme song. Thank God, because I mean,
and it's on you.
I was just giving you praise, and here you go interrupted.
You got it.
Let's sigh. This is what I have. Where's HR? We need an HR because I need to report my grievances to somebody.
We need an HR.
We need an HR. Who's gonna be our HR representative? I need an HR. This is too much. Okay, so love it or lose it. It's a little game, a little icebreaker we do here, where we
don't know what it is. Is it an icebreaker? Who knows? Who knows what it is?
Why are you like
Nobody
this?
knows what it is. It's a confusing thing.
Where is HR? I mean, I need to file a complaint.
Nobody knows what it is.
I'm being harassed at my workplace, and I don't like it. Okay? I am just trying to do my job.
Miss Michaela said, Citadel can be our HR services.
Please, thank you, Citadel, because we need HR. Okay. Ooh, my head wrapped on. Got all discombobulated fooling with you. Yes, Love It or Lose It. It's a little game we play at the beginning of the pod. So basically, we have 4 things that we kind of put on the table, and we have each person that's participating pick one that they would love forever and ever, would never let go, and one that they would throw in the trash, along with, I don't know, many things that need to be thrown in the trash. So many things need to be thrown in the trash. I was trying to pick one, but there's so many. A lot of things that need to be thrown in the trash. And so, every week we do this, and one person usually knows what the listing is. The other person does not, so it can be a surprise. So surprise icebreakers, that's what we do here. Surprise icebreakers. And so this week, I decided to do a little twist or a little flip on last week's Love It or Lose It. So last week we did up and coming actors, and this week I decided to do established older statesmen actors.
Older statesmen.
Older statesmen. I said statesmen. Sorry. Y'all know what I meant.
Word.
Y'all know what I meant. Older statesmen actors.
I feel like we've done this before, but good. Maybe not in the same context. Good. Well,
maybe
something similar.
Possible. So the choices are:
yes,
Morgan Freeman.
Okay.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay.
Denzel Washington. James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones.
Mm-hmm. 4 iconic black actors who are all over the age of 60 and who are still gainfully employed and pulling up to functions and getting checks.
May I suggest a replacement?
Replacement for who?
James Earl Jones.
Who would be your replacement?
Lawrence Fishburne.
I have to check if Lawrence Fishburne fits the age requirements.
I believe so, but I could be wrong.
Lawrence Fishburne. Let's see. How old is Lawrence Fishburne? Does he meet the cutoff? He does not meet the cutoff.
Oh, so in my mind he was older.
I was choosing 60 or older.
Yeah, in my
Lawrence
mind,
Fishburne is 59.
just there.
He will be 60 this year in July.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, I specifically chose 60 and older people.
Okay. All right. The reason why I say that, because I know I would probably, out of those 4, lose James Earl Jones. But I don't know if he deserves a lose.
Okay.
But only because he's not, I don't know if he's in as much.
But what he's in is iconic.
No, it is iconic. And I think the things he is in iconic roles, but I don't know if he's in enough diverse roles.
Have you ever seen Claudine?
No, I'm not saying he doesn't do diversity.
No, I'm just asking questions. I'm trying to know what you saw. Okay.
I'm just saying he could be in a lot more diverse roles.
I mean, he's also 90 years old, so in your defense, you may not know about a lot of his work.
Okay.
Because he's been on Broadway and, done Shakespeare and things like that.
Yes.
He's a prolific actor.
Yes, correct.
Mm-hmm. And
I guess, like, similar to what I was saying.
He's King Jaffa. What's the conversation here? What are we talking about? He's King Jaffa.
And to my point what I made last time, I was like, when my requirement for like an actor that I really would like is a little different sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, it's not really how well they act or do lines or do things in theater, but their range of talent.
That's fine. All I'm saying is,
so it's like how they operate and what they do in different spaces and how they change up how they acting in different spaces. Like it's that's kind of how I rate. His lane is fantastic, and he's the greatest in his lane. Does that make sense?
I understand.
So like,
I don't agree with you, but I understand.
He's the greatest in his lane. He's the greatest, like, when he does speeches, when he does acting, in terms of theater, he's fantastic. I think he's great in his lane, but I don't know if I will compare to the others. I've seen a trend to Denzel, Samuel Jackson, and you said the other one was
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman, yeah. I've seen a larger, diverse, like I like. Morgan Freeman has changed up a lot more than I thought he would, and does a lot more diverse things. And what I've seen, but and that's the reason I was trying to change it, because like I don't think he deserves to be lost. But like out of those four, I'll do it. But I believe that James Earl Jones has all his works are necessary. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
I understand.
Yeah,
I understand.
What is your loser?
Samuel L.
Why Samuel?
Like I like Samuel L. I do, but I just don't know if I feel like his range of acting is as broad as the others. Like, I have a great deal of respect for what he's done and to be his age and still be...
You said you don't think his acting is broad enough?
I don't think so. Compared to the others. Like, both Morgan Freeman and James Earl Jones and Denzel have done, like, the Broadway theater, like...
Okay, that's what you meant. Okay,
like scope of things. So it's not just TV and movies. Like, they've also been like on the stage, like acting in front of live audiences. And I actually saw Denzel when they did The Iceman Cometh like 2 years ago. So I was able. It was long. My God, long. But like to be able to see him like doing his thing like in the flesh, it's like it really gives you an appreciation for actors who do that.
Yeah.
And so while I enjoy Samuel L. movies like Pulp Fiction, Django, all the Avengers. Samuel L. stay employed, okay?
Yeah,
he stay with a check.
And also, I the reason why I don't think I chose him because I feel like there's a lot more performances that he's done has impacted my life more than anything else.
Okay, like
just Pulp Fiction.
Okay,
like just start. He has memorable lines.
Oh, absolutely.
He has memorable lines in bad movies.
Yeah.
Because he's been in some bad movies, but he's still, like, Snakes on a Plane is a terrible movie.
Awful.
But people still memorize that line like it was good.
And it wasn't. Like the way people were talking about it, I remember going to watch that movie and being like, y'all.
No, that movie's about snakes on a plane. There's nothing else but there's no other premise. Snakes on the plane.
I'm like, y'all playing in my face now. That's what y'all doing. Y'all playing in my face at this point. So,
like, the fact that he can pull a memorable line out of no matter what he does.
Mm-hmm. Like, when Samuel, the thing is, I respect him because when he's in a movie, you gonna know he's in a movie.
Yeah,
it's not gonna be no like.
Even if he dies quick, like he died mad quick in like Deep Blue Sea. Mm-hmm. But people still remember him.
Yeah, and I have a great respect for him because I think I saw something. I was just looking it up while you were talking that he is the highest grossing actor of all time because the films that he has appeared in have collectively grossed over $27 billion worldwide. So Samuel L. gonna make a film one way or another. He gonna get a check, and so I have a great deal of respect for him. Like as
like Nick Fury.
Yeah, like Nick Fury. He was doing that. What else do you do? Coming to America. He actually wasn't in the Coming to America too, which is hilarious. But he was in the first one, but people might not have remembered that. I think that was actually his first acting role. Was Coming to America.
It was.
So it's like he's been all over the place and been in all types of stuff. So I have great respect for him as an actor. But yeah, I think the other three have a slightly more diverse acting portfolio in terms of things that they have experience doing. So I would say him.
Yeah, I think a lot of his lines are a lot more impactful than the other ones for me. So I that's why I can't lose him for that. Mm-hmm. The others you said Denzel.
It's Morgan Freeman, Denzel, and James Earl.
Yeah, probably definitely Denzel.
Okay, that's your love it. Okay,
yeah. And I think it's the same thing with as I said about Samuel. He has a lot more memorable lines. Mm-hmm. He has a lot more diverse in terms of his palette. Mm-hmm. His movies are very impactful. Mm-hmm. It's interesting, and I think it's also interesting how like it's not the same now, but like every time he would like do a role, mm-hmm. he would be so engulfed in it that it kind of changes like how he operates and everything else. Mm-hmm. So like when he was doing Malcolm X, he used to do a lot more things in that field mm-hmm. in terms of community service. Mm-hmm. When he kind of like engulfs that whole thing. Mm-hmm.
I'm still mad Malcolm X didn't get any awards because Denzel did the acting Spike Lee did the directing and the cinematographing.
Yeah.
I don't know why they did not. Well, I mean, I know why.
Yeah, we know why.
But, I feel away because I'm like, that movie is like amazing.
And when he does a certain role, everybody who creates movies wants him to do that role in their movie now. Because like after Training Day, they were like, "Can I have that Training Day guy in this movie also?" I was like,
"Can we?
Is this guy from Training Day again?
Can we not? Can we not?
Like that's what they were like. They try to typecast him, and he keeps changing it up.
Yeah, and I mean, and I feel like there are people who are to this day still upset that he won the Oscar for Training Day, and it's like,
no, I
can see why though.
Yeah, I think once again, I think we talked about that in terms of misplaced anger.
Yeah,
like
I'm like, are there other roles he could have won for? Yes.
Yeah, like it shouldn't be upset with him because he's up the Academy because the Academy is trash.
Right.
Yeah, but no, don't upset with him.
I'm almost certain that Denzel did not go into the first day of shooting Training Day thinking it was going to be an Oscar nominated movie.
Yeah.
He did not go into it thinking that. He probably went into it being like, this is just a movie. I like the script. I like whatever. I want to do this role. I'm pretty sure he did not go in there thinking this is an Oscar contender. Right. I'm sure he was just as surprised as you are that he won an Oscar for that.
Right.
But I also kind of see why, to the people that judge the Oscars, why that would have been something to award him for. Because Denzel's previous roles before that were nothing like that. Like
the problem about why we say that is because black people were only at that time, and that's what
we're getting awards for the nonsense,
for stuff that were like we had to be act like that, or be in like a slave movie. Like those are the roles that
or
we would
be young fat pockets because people was mad that Halle Berry won for like, Monsters Ball.
Correct. Those are the roles that we will get an Oscar for.
Yeah.
And then we won't get an Oscar for it. Like, and that's what the annoyance was.
No, I get it. I completely understand. But I could also make the argument from the point of somebody who is, just out of touch with our people.
You don't have to argue for them.
And I'm not arguing for them. I'm just saying I can see the logic of how they arrived at this is what he should win an Oscar for.
Yeah, because they're trash.
I can see it.
I'm like, the argument is that they're trash.
I'm like, Malcolm X wasn't it, but this was. All right, y'all. My love it. This is kind of hard. It's kind of hard. Like, I'm going back and forth between Denzel and Morgan Freeman. But I think I'm going to go with Morgan Freeman.
Wow.
Because I feel like Morgan Freeman gives. Okay? He just gives. Like, first of all, the voice, everything. Then secondly, I feel like I've seen him in a variety of different types of roles, and he's managed to like successfully convince me in all of them. Like, I've seen him in dramatic, I've seen him in comedic, like I've seen him in like a bunch of different things. Like, I've seen old clips of him like doing stage work and stuff like that. And it's just like, I just admire how versatile he is as an actor. And this is not to say the others aren't, but I feel like Denzel really shines as like a serious actor. Like, some of his movies where he's kind of playing like a more comedic or attempting to kind of have like a slightly comedic thing, like it doesn't hit the same for me. Like, it's just kind of like, okay, like it's cool, you doing your job, but it doesn't hit the same for me. Like,
he's not known as like he even if he's in a comedian movie, he's not known as the funny person in the
exactly
movie. I get what you're saying.
Like, Morgan Freeman has like the capability to kind of like be all of that and it not seem like
Denzel Washington's comedy is like her father.
Yeah,
it's like my father's comedy. Like, like when your father and your father's friends hang out and like they laugh. That's kind of his comedy.
Yeah,
it's kind of like like ha, like
yeah.
It's like them laughing around It's that kind of comedy.
And Morgan Freeman just has like a very like fun sense of humor. Like, he never seems like he's like aged out or out of touch from like what's funny now. Like, he always seems very like on to what's going on. And even though he's 83 years old, it's like he doesn't give me that energy. Like, he still gives me very alert, very spry, very, and like I said, like I've seen him in a wide diversity of things and I feel like he does all of them well. And so I feel like, Morgan Freeman is my love it.
I got it.
Denzel was a close second, but I felt like I had to give it to Morgan because, diversity.
Yeah.
Diversity.
But all four of them are great.
Yes, exactly.
I do want to put that out there.
Yes, absolutely. James Earl is 90 and he will forever get the respect.
Yeah.
Forever.
That's what I said. I didn't feel right putting him there.
Yeah. No, I can't lose him. That's disrespectful.
Yeah, I didn't feel right putting him there.
Nah, for real. You gotta put respect on my guy. My guy was just in a movie.
I know. That's what I said.
And Morgan was both in the movie, actually.
And that's what I said.
I'm looking good for 90 too. I'm not even mad at it. I am not mad. So yes, that was our Love It or Lose It.
Ha.
Love it or lose it. Hey, love it or lose it. Hey, love it or lose it. Hey. Yes. So yes, let's get into our topic for this week. So
main topic.
A precursor. Hopefully nobody's going to be offended. But if you are, I don't know what to say. My bad, yo, is probably what I got for you. Because, it's sort of a sensitive, to some people, it is a sensitive topic. And some of the views expressed may not be in alignment with what your views are. But that's what we're here for dialogue, for conversation, for opening our minds. So what we want to talk about this week was the hashtag Stop Asian Hate situation. I don't know if situation's the right word, but it's the best one I can come up with at this point. So a little backstory for those who don't know. In the last couple of weeks / months, there has been a rash of...
Well, within the last year, technically.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But I guess in the last couple of weeks, it's become more media...
Focus.
The media has been more focused on reporting on it, on anti-Asian hate crimes that have taken place across the country. The most recent jarring one was in Georgia. I feel like it was in the Atlanta area, where a young white terrorist went to a Asian massage parlor.
Yes. And
killed 8 people. I believe.
Yes.
If I read the story correctly. And
I think it was 10 people, 8 of them were Asian.
Yes, 8 of them were Asian. And the argument that the people tried to come to us with, because they stay trying to come to us with the foolishness when it be a young white terrorist getting to some nonsense. Oh, he was trying to eliminate, he had sexual addiction issues, and he was trying to eliminate the addiction or something that he felt would trigger his addiction.
Which comes from racism, because you're assuming that Asian massage parlors
have sexual things going on down to the massage parlor.
It's still racism.
Still racism, but
which I don't believe it anyway. But even if that's your excuse, it's still racism.
We'll get there. So yeah, I mean, a few things. For one, so all of this happened, and now there's like a campaign to bring attention and awareness to these hate crimes that are happening against Asian people in this country. And so there's a hashtag, because we live in a social media era, everything is a hashtag. So there's a hashtag called Stop Asian Hate, and I have a problem with the hashtag. Let me tell you why. Words mean things. Grammar, syntax, semantics, punctuation, it all means things. And so when you say Stop Asian Hate, if I don't know the backstory and I'm just seeing it for the first time, it sounds like you're telling me Asians are hating on somebody and they should stop. It makes me ask the question, who are Asians hating? That's what I'd like to know. So I understand the concept behind the hashtag, but wording wise could have been better. This is just the English language person pet peeve, but I'm a little bothered by it. So anyway, the guy is saying, oh, this was an addiction thing. They're definitely trying to minimize the race portion of it and trying to minimize. And they basically were like, oh, he had a bad day. I'm like, having a bad day for most people means, you cry a little, you overeat ice cream or some other bad food, you consume some alcohol, you go to bed. A bad day does not equate murdering 8 whole people. It just doesn't.
If diabetes causes racism,
I mean, you know what?
then maybe
you are correct. Because if somebody's blood sugar spike can lead to calling somebody the N-word, then I suppose a bad day could lead to a whole murder.
Yeah, so maybe.
It's just wild. So it's been very interesting watching the reporting about that and the mental gymnastics that white people are trying to do to try to minimize the fact that this young man was in fact a terrorist who went and murdered people based on their race and ethnicity and nothing more. But whatever. We'll let people do their own Olympics to try to get out of stuff.
What?
One of the most troublesome things about this whole situation and campaign about bringing awareness to these issues that are happening with the Asian community and whatnot is that there seem to be a flurry of people, black and white, who are of the belief that the reason the issue is not being taken as seriously or is not getting as much attention as it needs to is because black people aren't speaking up about the issue. I've seen a few think pieces, and long paragraph Instagram statuses basically saying, here's how you can be a better ally. Here's how black people can be a better ally to the Asian community. Here's why black people need to speak up about this, etc., etc. And somehow the conversation has turned from a crazed white man in his racism went and killed some Asian people to, well, what are the black people doing about the situation? And my question is, why should we? I am of the opinion that...
Clarify.
Yes. Why should we? And I know, listen, I'm clarifying. The reason I'm saying that is because I take issue with the fact that we are expected to save everybody. We are expected to be everybody's mouthpiece. We are expected to stand up and stand out for everybody. But the same energy is not kept a lot of times when our issues are at play. I don't have a problem with black people who feel strongly about the issues that are happening with Asian people in this country and they want to speak up. My problem is with the entitlement that some people feel to black people's support and backing of their issues, and the feeling that the issue is not getting the attention it deserves, specifically because black people aren't talking about it the way that people feel they should. And I'm like, but why is that on black people though? If a black person wants to speak up about the issue, I am more than happy to support them in doing that. But if a black person feels like they don't want to, I don't feel like it's okay to shame them or browbeat them or make them feel like they're being selfish or not caring about other people because they're not speaking up about it. Here's the thing. Black people are not the world's mule. We are not obligated to care about, speak up about, talk about anybody else's issues except our own. And I feel as an individual black person, individual black people reserve the right to decide what they're going to put their energy into or not into. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you feel that you have your personal motivations about why you think this is something you should speak up about as a black person, go forward. Absolutely. But don't make other black people feel like something is wrong with them for not doing it. Because here's the thing. As much oppression as happens to everyone in this country, and this is not an oppression Olympic statement, this is just a fact. People of color, black, Asian, Latino, Native American, all of them are systematically oppressed in this country by white people. Fact. However, the history that African American people have in this country in relation to their oppression is going to be very, very different from everybody else. African Americans are people who were stolen and kidnapped and brought here and enslaved and have been fighting for their rights for over 400 years. The only other people that even have a mildly similar story in terms of trauma with white people is Native Americans. Everybody else, yes, they're experiencing issues here, but it hasn't been centuries long of fighting for equality, of fighting for rights, of just fighting just to be seen as human. Nobody else has been doing it as long as black people. So to me, a group of people, a group of people who has been fighting for 400 years and still has not gotten full rights in this country, to look those same people in their face, mind you, after all of the George Floyd, Tamir Rice, Michael Brown, the things that those people have been protesting for the last decade, at the very minimum I'm talking about here, to look those people in their face and tell them that they're jerks because they don't want to sit and speak up about this Asian hate issue, it's incredibly insensitive and rude. Black people been fighting since we got here. Black people can decide, this ain't my fight. And it's fine. They can really say, this thing ain't my fight. I hope those people go with God, thoughts, and prayers, but this ain't my fight. And so I'm very bothered by the fact that there are people out there, both black and white and other races, who are trying to turn this conversation into, well, why isn't the black community speaking up for the Asian community?
I have a few perspectives on this whole thing. Mm-hmm. Number one, I believe that this whole narrative of what are black people doing is just it was an implanted idea to kind of prove, trying to make a justification that black people care about nobody else.
Because they don't have to, but okay.
That's not my point.
I understand, I'm just saying.
Like, the point I'm making is that it's trying to implant this idea that black people don't care about nobody else, so nobody else should care about them. It's trying to implant this idea that, like, oh, black people are talking about these rights and everything, but they don't care about nobody else's rights. They're trying to implant the idea about it because it's a weird thing to just start singling us out. Right. It's a weird thing to do that. Number one. Very weird. Number two, it also comes from this weird thought pattern that they listen to us. So, like, it's been 400 years. We still fighting for the same thing from back then. Like, why do you think? So come on. It's this weird, like, and I've kind of seen it before, where, like, people think that black people have more rights than everybody else. Where? Show them to me. Like, they believe that we have more rights than everybody else because we keep, anytime we have a problem, we're voicing it, and like, and like a lot of, like, I realize perspective is weird in this country. It's weird. It's very weird because, like, in a lot of people's zone, the news are always on black people's side. Where? The what we like, we're always like, everything we do, we get like they listen to us about everything they're changing, and like it the perspective is just so weird. Like, just because the news will say something doesn't mean that they're on our side. Just because they put a black person in a movie doesn't mean they're on our side. Just because, like, they'll have a Spider-Man and they'll have a black Spider-Man doesn't mean immediately. Like, and like, a lot of times when something like that happens, they're like, it's because black people always got, like, it's such a weird perspective. It's such, and this kind of, and I think this whole thing comes from that. The reason why this thing is that, because they're like, because when y'all do things get done. No, the reason why it hasn't get done because that's why we keep fighting. Right. Like, we literally have been talking about police brutality for how long now? Yeah. And even before these, the whole Black Lives Movement matter came about, like, police brutality has been a conversational topic in the black community. So it's like, it's been 50, 60 years, maybe more. Like, come on. And also, I have a problem with why do we always have to save everybody? And we've had to do that for years. We've always had to be the backbone of every movement. Women's rights would have not been women's rights without black women. Big fact. Wouldn't have happened. Big fact. And we're always having to be the backbone of things that are going on. Like, and unless what we have to constantly fight for and everything, because, and it's weird because it's like, when we say that, because we always say there's a problem, and everybody always like, it's not that big, that serious. Until it comes to them, they're like, hey, black people, there's a problem. Right. And so it's kind of annoying. So I understand the frustration, because it's kind of like, we always be like, hey, there's a problem here. Hey, there's a problem here. But there's a problem here. Right. And we have to do that across the board. We have to do it with other black people. We have to be like, hey, there's a problem. Is it really a problem? Yes, it's a problem. Yep. Are you sure? Yes, it's a problem. Yeah. And then, so, like, it's constantly a thing that goes on, and it's always like, I don't know why every time something happens, it's never like anger or let's talk to the white people. It's never them. It's always like
right, because the issue at play here is white supremacy.
It's always put the blame on somebody else. When black people is an issue with like police brutality, our focus is let's talk about how let's have a strong focus on how black people act in certain situations.
Yes,
let's have a focus.
Or let's
on
talk
that.
about black on black crime.
Yeah,
that's the favorite.
It's always not put the blame on where it should be.
Yeah.
And like that's what's very always
yeah, that's what's happening.
It's always
here.
like we're gonna put the blame somewhere else.
Right.
We're not gonna put the blame on the people who are causing it. We're gonna put the blame on somewhere else. Because it's like everybody has realized. It's like saying like everybody realizes that white people be trash, right? Mm-hmm. Of course, I'm not saying all white people are trash, mm-hmm. But everybody has realized like it's like most minorities have realized that a lot of white people do say racist things and be racist. Like if you ask any person who's a minority, they all believe that, right? But we also treat it like they can't help themselves,
right?
So we have to change.
Like there's some children who just literally do not know how to stop being racist, and so that we must do all types of pretzels, to fit around that.
They can't help themselves, so we got to figure it out,
right? And it's and it's like to me, I'm looking at the Asian community, like who is trying to turn this story back to black people, and it's like, but the white man is the one that killed y'all. What we got to do with it?
And once again,
the white guy killed y'all.
I don't know if it's all Asians doing that.
Not all, but
like
there are some.
I do. The funny thing is, what I see people saying that are mostly black people saying that. I see a lot of black people saying, "Why aren't black people being more involved?" No, I see a lot more black people saying that. Honestly, and black people saying that in return, Asian black people might be saying like, "Yeah, black people are like they might."
I don't know. And probably ain't us, so leave us out of it.
And like I kind of despise that a lot because like black people kind of like I kind of get annoyed when black people go to other races like, "Hey, I'm on your side," not like these other black people.
Right. I'm like if that's what you want to do, go do it.
That like I feel as if that's kind of sometimes how some black people move. They're kind of like, "Hey, I'm on your side. I'm not like these other black people who are ignorant. They don't understand how it really goes." And we have to stop doing that also. And because we do that with a lot of things. We'll do that with LGBT rights. We'll do that with everything. Like we're so quick to be like, "Hey, I'm on your side," not like these other people who are ignorant.
Right. Like, and here's the thing.
And we're very quick to like try to separate ourselves from the other black people.
Yeah.
And we have to stop doing that also.
And while I understand you feeling like you can see yourself in these other marginalized communities and these other people, I can understand that. But you can support them without making the rest of us who may not be as vocal or as supportive or whatever the case is. You can do it without trying to divide yourself from those people.
And trying to show that you're better than us.
Yeah.
And also trying to... and pointing out like black leaders is kind of annoying too. Because it's kind of like... you're telling because like a lot of the black leaders who are doing things with Black Lives Matter, they're very much research and specialize in that, right? They have a lot of knowledge on that either because they experienced it or they've researched it and they've talked about a lot about Black Lives Matter. When things happen that aren't in their field, they probably don't want to speak out because they don't know that much about it. Which is fine because like not everybody knows a lot about everything,
right? So
I it's kind of like,
and you would be offended if they came and spoke about something and misspoke or said something wrong, like, oh, they didn't even take the time to research. So if you're going to do all that, people will just sit out and stay in the lane that they're. TLC told us, don't go chasing waterfalls, stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to. That's what people do sometimes, and that's okay.
It's like someone is an expert on Facebook. An expert on Facebook and everything, and you come with them with like, Instagram's wilding, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna sit out. I don't know nothing about Instagram.
Yeah, and
I'm gonna just stay on Facebook.
And here's my issue: people always want black people to be in the mix of things when ish is rough, but when things get fixed, black people never get the credit for the work they did to make it
or to help out
better in the first place. And it's not saying that black people get into things to get the credit, but it's like if you're gonna be pushing for black people to be involved and to speak up and to do this and to do that. Acknowledge that they've done that and acknowledge how their contribution has made things better for you. But it's like people, as soon as they get what they want, they forget about the contribution of black people, and they'll just have it as like a footnote in the conversation if they mention it at all. And it's just like, you don't think that historically people seeing that being done also makes people feel a little hesitant to jump into things? Because it's not about credit, but it's about, yo, you asked me to put in the work, I put in the work, and now you want to act like you did it yourself.
Right.
Like, that's not cool.
So I say all this to say the correct way to approach this is to say, okay, we recognize that it's a problem of white supremacy, of how certain white people or how America treats minorities and stuff like that. We come together and address the issues, all the issues, at one time. Don't just be like, all right, address my issues,
right? and I
think that is kind of because like if we go back to like how Fred Hampton moved, Fred Hampton was like, all right, we all have an issue with low income and how they treat low income people in this neighborhood. So we're going to talk about how things benefit all of us and just work it out that way.
Right.
Not just be like, oh, I'm going to take away my cause and just focus on your cause now.
Right.
And everything.
Yeah.
And then, and like, it's just how people approach it. Cause like, it's just weird. It's very weird. It's like you can help out another cause without taking away yours.
Right. You can
help another cause without saying, oh, this, like, our cause is not that serious. Like you can do both.
My thing is this. Two things. One, there are enough Asians in this country, Southeast Asians and non-Southeast Asians in this country, for them as a community to band together and address their own issues and create a coalition and have leaders a la, what's his name, Al Sharpton and people of that nature. There are enough of them. There is no need for anybody else to get involved. There are enough of them that they can mobilize as a group and address their own issues without having to pull people in to bolster it, number one. But the inter-racism they got between them prevents them from doing that. But you ain't heard that from me. But there's enough of them.
But I do understand the power of people coming together.
The power of y'all coming together.
But I do. Well,
there are enough of you, is my point. There are enough. There are enough of you, and there are enough of you with the financial resources to really make these changes. You can't tell me like Bling Empire and shows like that are just like random people. A lot of Asian people in this country, I'm not being facetious, like there are a number of them who are doing very well for themselves financially. So there are financial means. It's not like everybody is like downtrodden and poor.
I got it.
There are financial means to establish, political PACs and things like that. Like you have resources and hands and bodies at your disposal to start doing your own legwork. That's the point I'm trying to make. And I'm not saying that people aren't doing it, but why not start developing something in your own situation that does not require involvement or input from somebody else?
Well, they do have that. I'm not saying they don't. They
acting like they don't, or folks are acting like they don't. Well, by trying to bring people who are not at all involved in the situation into the situation.
Once again, that's why I said most of the people were black people saying that they don't know. So, but
I'm also saying it's not just black people were saying it. Like I said, white people were saying it, other Asian people were saying it, Latinos were saying it, a number of people were saying it.
I got it. What I'm trying to say is there are another organizations that have that. Number one. Number two, I don't want to take away from the point that there is power in coming together, races together for something.
I understand that. I'm not disputing. I'm not disputing. I'm not disputing that. The point I'm trying to make is a race to whom the problem does not matter does not have to jump in, and no one should one should make them feel like they have to.
That's a separate point, though.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is, because what you're saying is correct. I don't think that it's wrong for for someone to try to create something with multiple races together to come together. I don't think that's wrong either.
I'm not saying that that's wrong. But what I am saying is
and creating a coalition with multiple races.
Right. If the goal is we're creating a coalition to advance all of our causes, I don't have an issue with that. I have an issue with expecting and being entitled to Black people's participation in order to get your point across. That's what my problem is.
Which is I think that's a separate point from feeling that we have to create, because what you're saying is to stop Asian hate. It takes away from a lot of different things.
What does it take away from?
Because what you're saying is true. Like a lot of different countries in Asia don't interact with each other like that. So it kind of makes it very broad. Right. It's like saying stop Black hate. Right. The reason why it
it's not really the same.
No, it's not.
Because people don't distinguish.
I made that up.
People don't distinguish Black. Like they don't care if we're West Indian or African or whatever. We're just Black.
Yeah, and it's not really as many language barriers as that. Yeah. So you're right. It's not the same. It's like they'll have a it's very few actual just Asian organizations. But because like you'll have like Japanese organizations, Chinese, Korean, So and I mean again, like, and like I said, I know that there are because there's organizations out here, so I know there are organizations.
And the funny part of why they can't come together is racism. Colonialism, imperialism, all because a lot of these countries beef with one another is all of that.
Correct, and that's,
which is why togetherness is a struggle. But I feel like that's something that they can work on. Like,
but that's also this is why it's a little different, because those are whole countries. A lot of times we have it's whole countries to expect them to come together. It's a lot harder than.
No, I understand, and that's the point I just made. That's what I just said. I just said part of the reason they can't come together is because of imperialism, because of stuff that Britain did with China, that Japan has a problem with.
Correct.
That South Korea has a problem. So again, white people in the mix, meddling around in those countries, is why they can't come together.
I got it.
That was the point I was making.
Yeah. So it's not a easy thing. So I understand why the system is the problem. Right?
Yes.
The system is the problem. The system affects us all. So I understand where it comes from. What you're addressing and what I'm addressing is the problem is, like I said, it's just the obligation. Yeah. It's just trying to obligate people to do that.
Yeah.
I think the obligation is wrong, and and also trying to put the blame on Black people for way things are. Yeah. And trying to pass the blame to us instead of to the person. So those are the things that are a problem. But I will not disagree that in people trying to bring them together. But I don't agree with the obligation.
Because the argument can be made, where was the Asian community during the Black Lives Matter movement when we were protesting George Floyd? Like that's a lot of people's response to this. Where are the Black people? Is like, where was y'all at? Because and we've seen this with other groups too. Because I don't know if you remember last year, but when George Floyd was killed and people were protesting, there was also a story that was running about a Hispanic young lady who was killed I forget if it was the Army, the Navy, the Marines, one of the armed forces. She was killed, and it was clear that there was some kind of cover up in like her death. And so her family was like speaking out and trying to get answers. And I believe I recall one of her family members, I don't remember who, saying, I don't understand why there's all this coverage around George Floyd. He was a criminal. Why are they not covering this young lady who was serving her country and who was killed? And it's like stuff like that is what makes Black people be like, well, they can have their problems. Because if you're trying to make it you're trying to make it a competition. And I think it goes back to the point where you were saying, where people feel like Black people have all these rights and Black people have all this voice, and it's somehow taking away from their issues and their voice. And it's like, I understand that you're hurt that your child was killed. And, rest in peace to her. I'm very sorry that it happened. I think, there's a lot of messed up things that happen in the armed forces when it comes to people dying. Because there's a few cases I've read about where people have died and it's been covered up. So I'm very sorry, and I understand their hurt and pain, but I just felt like it was so tasteless and just insensitive to say that this issue doesn't matter because this person was this kind of way and this person was an army serving in the army, and so their story should get more traction. And it's like, yes, the story should get traction, but it's not the same.
Correct.
And so it's like, because I remember seeing a lot of conversation about that, and it was like a lot of black people I saw commenting on social media were like, this is why we don't fool with other people's issues, because they feel like their issues are comparable with ours somehow, and they will try to diminish what we've got going on because they feel their stuff isn't getting enough attention. And I'm like, I understand where people are coming from.
This is why,
because I was offended when I read that, because I'm like, these things are not the same.
So I'm gonna address all those things. Number one, I think that it is completely wrong what was said about it, because it's. I don't think you have to demean one to bring up yours.
Yes.
So that is
both. That's the tragic. We can agree to that.
Correct. But I think that's part of the problem of why certain things happen, because they feel like, oh no, and like people feel that about a lot of times about their own race. A lot of times people are like, all right, you do this, but like it becomes what's called a personal Olympics with stuff like that, which is not the way we should do things. Yeah. Right. Number one. Number two, I also think that we have to, society in general, I'm not pointing out black people because a lot of people in society do this, and we have to do better at this, is like, she was saying that about that, and the other people around her might have been saying that, but I don't want to put that on the whole Hispanic community for doing that.
But that's just a smaller piece of overall experiences that...
But it's still, even if it was different, multiple experiences should still not be put on the whole Hispanic community.
But that's where I have to stop you, because we don't get that grace. Black people don't get that grace.
What do you mean?
Black people don't get the grace of that one thing does not represent the entire the entire community. People don't.
But it's still wrong both ways.
But what the point I'm trying to make to you is, people don't give us that grace, and that is why black people are hesitant to jump into other people's things.
I understand
because
what you're saying.
We're not given the same grace that we often give other people.
Correct. I understand. I'm not saying no. We should be getting that grace. You're right. They don't give us that grace, but both being wrong doesn't make it right. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So like you're right. You never like. I'll never disagree with that point that they don't give us the same grace. A lot of people of other races don't give us the same grace as what one black person doesn't paint the whole race. Like they do all the time. Yeah. But us doing it to them doesn't make it right.
It doesn't make it right, but I also I a part of me is also on conservation. Conservation of black people's energy.
What do you mean?
Because I feel like black people expend a lot of energy just to survive. And I personally do not feel, and this is just me saying this, I personally do not feel in my heart of hearts that we should be the first to the presses.
That's a different conversation, but yes.
Running to give our energy to solving other people's problems.
Correct. I got it.
I don't feel that way.
I believe in people being conservationists, and I agree, but I still don't. I still think it's a different point from.
It's not.
How's it not a different point?
It's not a different point. I basically said it when I opened the whole conversation. Black people reserve the right to not be a part of things. That's what I've. That's
what from what you said just before that.
What did I say just before that?
Like you, because we were addressing the broader brush thing. I was like,
yes.
That's what I'm saying.
But the point, the way I'm connecting that point is because we don't get that grace, we don't have to give it to other people, and we can then conserve our energy for our problems. Look, we're not obligated to give that grace to other people. That's my feeling.
We're not obligated to not paint a broad brush.
No.
I don't know. Obligation is the wrong word.
If an individual black
I feel
person,
as if that as a human we shouldn't put broad brushes. I think broad brushes is it's not doesn't help anything. It doesn't solve or help anything by painting broad brushes at all with anything.
Okay.
Like it because like painting broad brushes about race, gender, or whatever it is, painting a broad brush doesn't solve anything.
Here's my thing: I'm keeping the same energy that Skep with me. That's it.
I understand with a person. Like
I'm not saying that
if a person does something to you, you should keep the same energy with that person. I just don't think that it should be used like if this person does the same energy, someone of the same background should get the energy that was given. I think that's not fair.
Life isn't fair. I'm gonna because I just have a hard time as a person having that same grace when it's never afforded to me. But people automatically assume things about us because we're black without knowing us, without anything.
I got that.
So it's just like, how can I?
If that person who's not giving you the same grace, yes, don't give that person the same grace. How can you give it? How are you putting that on somebody else who has nothing to do with that?
I'm not putting it on anybody else, but I'm keeping my good eye on them. I'm not going to let my guard down.
What do you mean?
I'm going to keep... Listen. Another part... We got to get off this topic. But another part of this, of why I feel like black people are very hesitant about jumping into this Stop Asian Hate conversation, particularly this past week, is that this past week was the anniversary of the death of Latasha Harlins. Okay. If you don't know who Latasha Harlins is a 15-year-old girl who was killed in California, I want to say back in the mid-90s, by an Asian store owner who thought she was stealing something. Okay. Who shot and killed her in the back of her head. And I think a park was recently named after her in California. And the anniversary of her death was last week. And I think that conjured up a lot of memories for black people about why they feel hesitant to jump into Asian related issues, because they feel that Asian people have discriminated against us and painted us with a broad brush. And you can't say that those people's experience or understanding of how they think Asians feel about black people isn't valid. And so my whole thing is...
Valid is not the correct word. I gotta say that with your experience and your feelings are valid. But I feel as if like,
okay, here's the thing. Everybody in every racial group is not the same.
Correct.
We can agree on that.
Correct.
However, I think everybody has to be, as black people who are constantly under attack from everybody, we're not safe from anybody.
I got it.
We cannot just be out here like lottie-dottie, like just being like, oh, you got to be on guard with people. That's my opinion.
Of course not.
You got to be on guard with people. And so the only thing I'm trying to say is, if I choose to be on guard and not really get involved in certain things because I don't really know, because history has shown me XYZ about XYZ, I should be able to do that without being guilted or made to seem like I'm a bigot or I'm ignorant or I don't care. Maybe I'm just self-preserving because history, my experience, my family's experience, whatever the case, has shown me that this particular group of people doesn't have my best interests at heart or doesn't see my people and see the value of them for what it is.
What you're saying is true. And like I said, it's like, I think I guess my whole point is this: what happened in Georgia was terrible, right? We all agree.
Agreed.
If someone was like, "Hey,
I'm listening to you.
I'm having a meeting to address that situation," I can choose to go or not go.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
I can go or not go. I can go because I want to go or not go and everything. I don't think that I should be obligated to go or not.
Right.
to go to a meeting to address any situation.
Right.
Just like I'm not obligated to go to any situation to address black situation. I'm just not obligated to go whatever it is. Right?
Right.
That is, I think, a different conversation than using what has another Asian, which, like I said, they're different countries. They're not together. Someone else who's might be from a different country might have done to a black person, and like how I should feel about that. Now that's how people operate,
right? And
I get that, but I feel I don't think that it's a valid or fair thing to how people move. I'm not saying that's what happens, of course, and that's how things do. But I don't think that's a valid or fair way that people can move with that, because, like I said, it's like you're saying this person who might be from Korea has offended me, so, and even if the other person is from Korea, they might be from the same family, same country, same part, whatever it is, not same area, and everything like that. And I shouldn't fight for them for that same reason. And I think that is where I'm saying, like, if no one's obligated to go. Right. That is not the point I'm making. I'm just saying, like, it's, if your feeling is because of another person who just happens to be from the same continent, right? It just sounds insane.
Right. Listen,
and that is the main point I'm making. I'm like, yes, they do that to us, and it's still wrong. So, like, I'm just, that's my only point I'm making. I'm like, I'm correct. They do it to us. It's still wrong, and if we do it to them, it's still wrong. So, like, I understand, like, how people feel, but it's still wrong, and like, and I understand people's hesitation, and that's because we have hesitation because, number one, we have no knowledge of different Asian cultures in general. We don't understand the difference between how they act. We're not really sure how they different cultures react to us and everything, so we kind of lump them in. So I understand why we do it and why it happens. It comes with like lack of knowledge of like how different countries interact with us, and like what, like we just don't know, so we just kind of paint that brush. So I know why it happens that way. I'm just saying, I'm just saying, like, it's the same way how we would get offended from there. I would never be surprised if, like, I would like they will probably definitely get offended by that, and I'm like, I understand why you're offended because it's an insane thing to say.
Offended by what?
If someone painted them on the broad brush the same way, if someone said, oh, because of this Asian person did this to black people that we don't really want to support you, like, it sounds insane that way too. Like, I understand why someone would be like, God, that sounds insane. Because, like, I would like, I feel insane if my cousin did something and someone looked at me like crazy. I would feel insane with that. And that's my family member. Right. If someone said, oh, I don't want to, because my cousin, I'm like, cousin's not me. Right. So, like, I understand why someone would just be upset, but just someone, like, just in the same continent as me from my family, would just automatically just not do
But
something.
Again, as I said at the beginning, the problem here is not black people or Asian people or any of that. It's actually white supremacy, because the argument can be made that based on certain practices and things that happen, I've seen it said multiple times, there are many people from Asian countries who are seeking to align with whiteness because they think that is what's up. And then whiteness has convinced the rest of us that we should war with each other for varying reasons, and that's what we keep doing. And so this whole conversation really boils down to racism, white supremacy, and how that is creating division that doesn't need to be there. You know, my whole, like I said, I feel like people have the right to support or not support what they want to support. Correct. I would say this has been a very traumatic time. I mean, it's always been a traumatic time for black people in this country. But I feel like this past year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years have been very, very traumatic for Black people. There's been a lot of marches, a lot of deaths, a lot of things. So my overarching thing is, at the end of the day, Black people have been fighting for a long time. And if they feel like they just want to sit this particular one out, that's cool. I won't shame you. I won't make you feel no type of way. If you want to sit this one out, you can. If you got the energy to go forward and fight on, go for it. But I think I'm annoyed at the fact that we're even brought into the conversation to kind of like be the foot soldiers for something. And it's like, we've been foot soldiering for a long time. We can respectfully sit this one out if we want.
No, correct.
We can.
And I agree. I would never take away from that point.
Yeah, the fight isn't among the Black and Asian community. That's not what the problem is.
Correct.
The fight is not among us.
Which was my whole point.
Yeah.
My whole point is like, it's not really among us.
And I understood your point. The fight is not among us, but I understand also why people might be like, nah, I'm good. That like I'm not in this because I have my personal issues with the Asian community.
Correct. And if that is what you feel, that's fine. Your feelings are valid.
Right.
I just feel as if it still comes from a...
We can agree to disagree on that because you know me.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's
All right. We hope you enjoyed this discussion. Hope it sparks some thoughts, some conversations in your own households. If you think we're completely wrong, you can tell us that too. That'll be completely fine. We won't be upset. That was our discussion for today. I guess we'll kind of keep our eyes on this story and see how things go and see how it progresses. But it's a very interesting couple of weeks. That's all I can say. All right. Let us move on now to our Artist Spotlight. You got the song?
Do you have an artist?
It's Kalante Garvin.
You never told me anything.
You didn't look at the docket? What is the point of the pre-production if we don't pre-produce?
I don't see it on the docket. That's why I said it.
It's there.
I didn't see anything on the docket.
It's literally there. I'm looking at it right now. That's what I was doing on my phone to make sure that it's saved. But you didn't even look at it.
Why don't you look at my docket?
Huh? Refresh. Because mine has it. See? Looky here. There it is.
No.
Right there. You don't want to look?
Nope.
Oh, because it just popped up on yours? Is that why you don't want to look?
No.
Funny business there. Funny business. So do you want me to pull the song up on my phone?
Yes, because it still doesn't see on there.
Still? You're lying.
I don't. It's still refreshing.
Oh, your phone's awful. It's the ghetto.
I'm not making it up.
I don't know. So this week's Artist Spotlight, his name is Kalante Gavin. Kalante is from Summerville, South Carolina. He has been singing in church since he was 4 years old.
Kalante with a C or a K? Kalante with a C or a K?
Kalante with a K. And he was a member of Bold Ministries International in Moncks Corner, South Carolina. I feel like I've heard of Moncks Corner before. Maybe I know somebody from there. He attended Summerville High School in South Carolina and graduated. He actually went viral in 2014. Some of you may have seen it. It was like a boy in a high school singing "I Won't Complain" to a cafeteria worker, and he was like singing down in the cafeteria at the school. And that's kind of where he first gained some notoriety. And then in 2016 he got signed to a label and he was working with Myron Butler. If you're into gospel music, you know who that is. And he was nominated for a Stellar Award, which is the Gospel Music Grammys, I guess, in 2018 for Youth Project of the Year for a song he put out that year called Higher. He put out an album, I believe, last year. Early this year, called The Now Experience, and I guess Now stands for No Ordinary Worship. Again, I saw him on Terrell Grice on YouTube. If you don't watch that, you should go watch it. He plays Song Association. He has some really, really amazing people come on and sing. And so Kalante came on and talked about his life story and like stuff he went through as a kid and what led him to being a gospel singer and so on and so forth. Really inspirational story. He's 22. He's going to be 22 this week, I believe. Yeah, he's going to be 22 years old. So a young guy from South Carolina singing and giving it up. So the song we're going to play is called No Ordinary Worship. And once Mark gets it queued up on his phone, we're going to do it.
I was trying to figure out if there was a non-live version between live.
Yeah, it seems like it's all... You know the gospel albums be live.
This ain't no ordinary worship. This ain't no ordinary song, yeah. The God I serve is greater than the ordinary. So I'ma give them all I have in this world. Come on, help me say, this ain't no ordinary worship. This ain't no ordinary. No, 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 no. The God I serve is greater. So I'm gonna give him all I have. I'ma give it all I have. Let me tell the story about a woman with an issue. Had it 12 long years, didn't know what to do. She heard about a man coming through her town. She fell to her knees and crawled on the ground. This is what she said, y'all.
That was Kalante Gavin.
Oh,
with no award.
Y'all
Never
look at
enough.
you just relaxing.
Yeah, I'm like,
I was like,
you got your whole feet
wait,
up.
I was like, wait, this,
Like, wow,
this is YouTube.
it's got a whole
you can
podcast
see
that
what's
we're
going on.
recording here. I mean, like, what's happening here? You
I'm
just
just chilling out.
you just got loose. You forgot where you was at.
I did. I forgot they can see me.
I forgot what I was doing. I was like, because I don't know if you saw me, but I saw your feet. I felt your foot touch my arm. I was like, what are you?
I was like, chilled out.
What are you doing, baby?
If you don't know, I'm usually like just chilled out.
This is why we don't need to record in the house. This is why we outside need to open so we can go back to a studio, because it's mad luncheon happening here.
Yeah.
Mad luncheon.
I was like, wait, I should.
I'm like, take down your foot off of the table now. So yeah, that was Kalante. You know, short gospel song. Let me tell you, because he's live. I was like, oh Lord, how long is live about to be? It was only 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So you know,
And 5 minutes is short for a gospel.
5 minutes is short for a gospel song in general, because y'all know how we can take a vamp, honey. We'll run it forever. I was watching Alan AME service yesterday, and the preacher finished, and you know, her theme was on Breakthrough, and the band started up, and they started playing the praise team started singing Breakthrough. Then the preacher broke into For Every Mountain over the Breakthrough beat. Child, they was going for like 10 minutes. I was like, yes, God, I'm here for this. This is my idea of a good time. This is my idea of the carrying on. So let's get into this week in random, y'all. It's been interesting.
This week in random.
Random. So, first things first. Y'all boy Derek Jackson has been supposed, as Jocelyn Hernandez says, for being a cheater, pumpkin eater. Derek Jackson, if you're not aware, he spells Jackson on social media with a Jaxn. He's the if you don't know who he is the relationship guru guy that's always in his car giving advice. Like that's his thing. He always gives his advice while he's like driving or sitting in his car. And he gives a lot of advice about, like, you know, how men can do better and treat women better, and how women can choose better men, and blah, 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 blah. He's overall one of the, from what I have seen, better liked relationship gurus that's male, because most people don't really be liking them. I remember seeing something a couple years ago about, like, oh, but he has a wife though. I don't know why he keeps hiding her. And that's back when Drake made the lyrical about hiding his kid from the world, not, you know, whatever he said. So people were saying Derek Jackson was doing that with his wife. I remember seeing that, but like I didn't think too much of it. Then I noticed either last year or the year before, he posted a few pictures of his wife on his social media, and it was like, oh, she does exist. Okay, cool. So flash forward to this past week. Apparently it's been exposed that he has had a side chick for the last 4 years that he has been dealing with. Apparently even slept with this side chick in his bed that he shares with his wife, which is just disgusting. Just trifling. Like, why do this? So now, you know, a lot of stuff is coming out about him, like, oh yeah, you know, it's well known that he was a cheater. He's been with this one, he's been with that one, he's did this, he's did that. And so it's like his whole, and he's like published books and stuff like that, and I think he's been like a speaker at events and something like that. So basically his whole sort of image that his business is built on is now...
What image is his business built on?
His image is faithful married man relationship guru.
That's what it said.
That's what he does. That's his whole thing. Is like,
I know relationship guru. I don't know if it's a faithful married man. So I'm asking that question.
If you're being a relationship guru and talking about how cheating on women is trash and you shouldn't do that,
he says that?
Yes, he says things like that.
I don't know.
If you're using that kind of language,
yes,
then the assumption would be
you're not cheating.
That you're not a cheater on your wife.
I don't follow him. I don't know nothing.
Yeah,
about him.
I follow him and I've watched some of his videos, and he covers a lot of like topics. And I was of the impression he handled it really, really well. Like, because I feel like some of these male relationship gurus, like, they're not as balanced sometimes. Like, they'll say stuff that, you know, kind of puts the eggs all in the woman's basket and none in the men's. So I've liked the fact that he's been very balanced in his takes and perspectives on things. So to come to find out that, you know, you were saying one thing but living another is interesting. And I don't think it's new at this point that people do that. People do it every day. Mm-hmm. People do it every day. It's no big deal. But, you know, I just think...
And people have been the concern, I think, with stuff like that is the accusatory way you approach it.
Yeah.
Because if you approach things in an accusatory way, you can't be acting crazy.
Yeah.
Like if you were like, I'd be flawed too.
Right.
And like I'm trying to work on it too. But once you start coming with the accusatory way you do
or
things,
coming like, oh, I do it well, I have it all together.
I'm better than y'all.
Yeah.
So it becomes a little different conversation.
Like you just open the door for people to start trying to find things about you. And apparently, I follow Isaac Hayes' son, Isaac Hayes III, and apparently he had, this happened back in like 2013 or 2014. Derek Jackson had posted something, and Isaac posted something sort of in response, but it wasn't out of order. And if you follow Isaac Hayes III on Instagram, he said some very interesting things. So he's very capable of saying some out of order, off the wall stuff. But he said something, let me see if I can pull it up and find it, because I remember seeing it. And he posted a screenshot of the interaction where Derek kind of came for him, and he was like, but bruh. So, I guess Derek Jackson made a video saying something about people make time for what they want to make time for. And Isaac Hayes had posted something and said, the quote, people make time for what they want to make time for is utter BS. People have goals. People have bills. People have sick relatives. People have secret issues. People have jobs. People have health problems. And he also went on to say the fact they aren't making time for you doesn't mean that they don't want to. It means they have a life they prioritize in front of your immediate wants. Consider doing the same. And then I guess Derek Jackson responded to him, and it was like a back and forth between the two of them. So, it just, yeah. It's just, he came off very like he's mad scammy, because he had books, t-shirts, mugs, all type of things. He had a lot of women as fans, because like I said, he was very balanced in his holding men accountable, but also holding women accountable as well. And, I feel as if when you have a fan base like that, you have to be very authentic to living what it is you're like preaching to people. And I guess the streets found out that he was not in fact living what he was preaching to people. And so now his whole situation is potentially at risk of being snatched up because he got caught slipping. And
what bothers me about that, because like what I sense is his wife knew he was cheating at one point. The reason why she didn't expose him, because exposing him loses the bag.
Yeah,
for the whole family. Like,
yeah,
she's probably upset with him. She's probably not.
Yeah, I mean, if he was cheating for 4 years, she knew something.
Yeah,
ain't no way somebody can pull off cheating for 4 years and you completely like. Yeah, it's very hard to do that.
But she's also like,
this bag is paying for my lifestyle for our children, so
I won't expose him, but he would have sleep somewhere else. He can't come over here.
Yeah, it's like the same thing with like Love and Marriage Huntsville. There's a reality show on OWN. Well, not OWN. Is it OWN? TV one of them, OWN, I think. And one of the couples on the show, the husband was cheating for 5 years with the same person, and that woman he was cheating with is now pregnant. And it's like, of course the wife knew about the cheating. She left him over it, but I guess he promised her that it was over. That wasn't what was going on, and so she went back. But come to find out that wasn't true. But like, I'm just saying that as an example. There's no way you could be cheating for that long and the other person don't know, unless the person you cheating with live in another country. Or like, it's very, very hard for you to pull off multi-year cheating like that without it being known, especially with the same person. So,
and it's interesting because I'm looking at even like pictures, and it's a lot of pictures of him and his daughter, and like pictures of their wedding. So that's interesting also. Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure at some point the woman, the side woman knew, and I think I read.
I'm not talking about like that. I'm talking about like. He's going on this show to say how great it is, but his wife is not coming on to say how great it is.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
And people were like, "Well, the reason he was filming in his car is because his wife would have called him on that nonsense. That's why he was always filming in the car." That sent me. I was like, "They might be right. They might be right. Correct." And then like the girl was saying how he told her at one point that him and the wife were separated, and she believed him because she saw like moving boxes in the house. So she was like, "Okay, maybe that's true." So I say all this to say, if you're gonna be out here spouting your theories about higher living and doing right and this and that, at least at the very least, be having your lifestyle match up what it is you're saying publicly. Because when you start being a public figure and speaking out on certain things, you open yourself up for criticism, for investigation. Because there are people who legit are haters and just want to see you fail. And you not doing what you're supposed to do and matching up your words with your life makes it easy for people to find things to drag you with.
Yeah, and I can see why. He has books and he has like courses. So,
yeah, like you got a whole.
It's not, so like I understand why
you got a whole network out here, my guy.
So he was like, I'm not gonna say nothing about this.
Yeah, he hasn't. Funny thing is, he hasn't posted any response to this.
No, he's not going to.
He posted something yesterday about somebody in his family passing away, but I'm like, oh, so you just going to ignore all the other stuff that people say? Okay. That's a strategy.
Honestly, that is the best strategy. The best strategy is to, that never happened. I'm talking about, I'm over here. That is the best strategy to handle social media nonsense. That's what
Kirk Franklin should have did. He should have never did no interviews apologizing about nothing. He should have just been like, I don't know, I'm not bringing it up.
That technically is the best strategy.
Indeed. It
has worked for everybody. It has worked for the popular people.
Yeah, because like look at Beyonce and Jay-Z. Don't ever talk about nothing.
Yeah, like you just be gone for a while, and then just come back, and then that'd be it.
Facts. It's a strategy. It's a strategy.
Just be gone for a while.
But you know what I find interesting too? A lot of these relationship gurus be on the BS, and their career
because their relationship is now have to be shown perfect that they don't have time to address the cracks.
Right. That's why
they have to keep like I think that happens all the time because they have to keep showing like how great it is that they don't address the cracks because they have to like no, we're great.
Excuse me, sorry. That's why I feel like I don't be trusting relationship gurus because even
none of them.
I'm trusting none of them. I be looking at all of them, especially like the married husband and wife ones. Those be the ones that I be looking at with the most side eye. I be like, what's really going on at y'all house? Because y'all over here trying to guru me to death, and I don't know.
If you keep telling me how great it is, I don't believe you.
I don't believe you. It's a lie.
Keep telling me how great it is.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
Yeah, if you keep telling me how great your marriage is, I'm always like,
is it though?
why you keep telling me?
Is it though? Like if you got to keep telling, like whenever I see couples like that are relationship gurus that be having these like relationship courses and they be taking all these like curated posed photos and coordinated outfits and all that, I'd be like, okay.
Hey, you keep telling me how great it is, I don't believe you.
Oh my God, my husband did this today, and my husband did, and it's always interesting when it's the wife doing most of the doing, and then you see the husband come on and write poems and soliloquies, and it's just like, y'all gonna lie in my face, huh? That's what you're gonna do? You gonna play in my face? Think I'm gonna believe you? And then 2 years later, we would like to ask for privacy at this time. I knew y'all was gonna get a divorce 2 years ago. Y'all was in my face playing like I ain't know, but cool, keep going. I'll let you rock. Please respect our privacy. As we
marriage don't be rainbows. Stop trying to make it rainbows.
It ain't.
Stop trying to make it rainbows.
Some days it's a bit trash. Okay,
like don't.
It's just the truth.
Stop trying to make it rainbows.
Right. Like I get that you love your partner. You think but it's not rainbows.
It's not rainbows.
It's not. It's not. You don't have to convince me. You don't have to convince any of the rest of us.
It's not rainbows.
It's not rainbows. There be some days where it'd be like, you know what? I don't like this.
So you be caught up in the marriage and ministry thing.
Yeah, and I'm like, let's not get out of hand. Some days you be like, I hate it here.
Yeah.
I don't hate it here. I don't hate it here. Just want to say that publicly. I don't hate it here. Why you really rise at me? Do you hate it here?
Don't put me in this. Don't put me in your comments.
I'm just saying that there are some days where people may feel that way.
Okay, so
that they hate it here.
All I'm saying is don't try to push your hating of this marriage.
I don't hate anything. I'm just saying that's where people. That's sometimes where people be.
It's
okay,
just, those people, right? It'd be people. It'd be crazy.
I don't hate it here.
It'd be crazy, right?
So now we're gonna do that. now we're gonna pretend be in our feelings.
It'd be crazy. It'd be crazy.
We're gonna pretend be in our feelings now.
It'd be crazy out here. I know it's crazy.
I'm tired of you. Are you really doing that right now? Are you gonna pretend be in your feelings right now?
What's next?
No. What's next? Are you gonna pretend be in your feelings right now? I don't hate it here. I already told you that. I don't know why you're pretending your feelings about this.
It's fine. I'm cool.
Are you gonna stop being in your pretend feelings? Are you gonna stop?
I'm really fine.
I know. I'm like, I hope people don't be like, oh my God, Mark's in this. Mark is just dragging him because Mark's a jerk who likes to play with my emotions. What's next? What's happening in Miami Beach, y'all?
I don't know. We should hurry up and get to this.
Why? First, people are still going to South Beach for spring break. I didn't know that was a thing. Honest to God, that just goes to show how old I am.
They went in the middle of right after things shut down. They went last year, so I know
You're
they went
right.
this year.
You're right. I forgot
Things
about
shut
that.
down. It was like, but we out here.
You're right. They did do that. They
It shut
did.
down.
They did do that.
Because it shut down like 2 weeks before, and then there was like, 2 weeks is enough. I'm out here.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
So you
I
think-
forgot that people
you
did
think
that.
They're gonna do it now.
I forgot that people did that last year.
After Florida said you don't need mask.
So yeah, I saw a lot of videos over the weekend. Like I saw a video of a guy who I guess was trying to run out on paying his brunch bill, and so the waiters chased him down the street, and they caught him and tackled him and brought him back to the hotel, to the restaurant. I assume he cleared his bill up there, or he washed dishes in the back. I don't know. And then, in the midst of him being chased, somehow there was a twerk party on the street, and people just a bunch of girls just ran from varying corners and started twerking. I was like, I'm not sure what's happening. And then I saw another video of a girl who was like on top of a car twerking, and like was laying on her back, legs up, twerking. And apparently her baby father, who she went to Miami with, came and snatched her off the car and took her back to I'm like, what the hell is going on? What are people doing? And I didn't see a mask in sight. Not one. I said, I hope everybody got the Pfizer vaccine, because
They did not.
no one's wearing a mask. Not one. There's no 6 feet distancing. There's no nothing. I'm like, what is everyone doing? I'm so confused. So confused. I need answers. So if one of you out there in the world could just help me understand what is taking place, I would be forever grateful. Forever grateful. Speaking of just strange, stupid things happening, did you see the story about the guy who almost got himself and his 2-year-old killed in San Diego? If you didn't hear, let me bring it to your attention. So the San Diego Zoo was open, and a gentleman went with his family to the zoo, and I guess he wanted to take a picture with the elephants, and rather than take the picture from outside the enclosure that the zoo so kindly set up for everyone's safety, this idiot decided to take his 2-year-old and get into the enclosure so he could take a picture with the elephant up close. Guess what? The elephant elephanted and charged at them, and they barely made it out of there with their lives. He dropped the kid on the way out of trying to run away and had to turn back and get the kid so the elephant wouldn't have charged at and trampled the kid. People, I don't know if y'all know this, but elephants are big. They're big animals. They're huge. They could easily crush one of us with one leg, and it would be nothing. It would be nothing. It would be nothing. So I do not understand why, like I said, the zoo built the enclosure to keep us and the elephant apart, so that if something go down, the elephant not gonna get us. The enclosure's for us. It's not for the elephant. It's for us. So if it exists, why would you feel like a good idea is to try to go up, around, over, under the enclosure? What would be the reason? Did we not see what happened with Harambe? They put Harambe down because somebody trespassed on Harambe's property. Harambe ain't do nothing. Harambe was chilling, minding his business. And they had some trespassers over there who almost got like trespassers are supposed to. I'm unclear about why you feel you can trespass in the animal habitat and then be like, oh my God, why the animal did that? Why did the animal?
The animal.
What are y'all asking? I'm so confused. Why did the animal do what the animal is supposed to do? Why did the animal? Why did the elephant? Like, I'm unclear. I'm unclear. Thankfully, the child made it out safely. I believe the father was arrested, and the child was sent home with her mother. But I'm like, yo, daddy is an idiot. That lady got to be at home reevaluating how she had a baby with somebody that's stupid. I would be. Like, bruh, you didn't go in the enclosure with the turtles or something. You went in the enclosure with like 1,000-pound elephant. Like, how you thought this was gonna go, Poppy? The elephant ain't used to people being in there that they don't know, okay? The elephant maybe only know the people that work down to the zoo that bring the elephant their food, and that's it. You a stranger. You not even wearing a uniform. They don't know you. You and your child is a threat, okay? There's a security breach. Code red. Then you want to be like, I don't know why the elephant charged me. Why was you at the elephant house? Did the elephant invite you over?
That's how you said it.
That's the stupid voice. Because, sir, why you went in there? What was the reason? What was so pressing about this picture that you had to go in there and almost killed your child? I don't even care if you had killed yourself, because you're stupid. You've lived long enough and you know better. But that kid is 2. She don't know no better. She barely walked over there. You probably carried her in there, and you're stupid behind almost got her killed down to the zoo over a picture. Idiot. I don't understand what be wrong with people.
On the flip side, I'm looking. It says 8.19 million vaccines have been administered in Florida, so maybe they're
People ain't got no damn vaccines.
I'm just letting you know what it says. They got more vaccines there than we have.
How many? But I wonder how many of those actual people that we saw in those videos are Floridians, as opposed to people from other places.
I agree with you.
Hopefully they're all Floridians and they were all vaccinated, but you know.
I believe it's that many Floridians probably got vaccinated because they got so many older people there.
Yeah. So yeah, this father was being held on bail for $100,000 for investigation of child endangerment. Charges need to be pressed for trespassing on the elephant's property. That's all I'm saying. There need to be charges for that. He endangered that child, but the elephant also deserves some compensation for being trespassed upon and being forced to charge at people. Okay? They was trespassing. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Bond. Yeah, he was being trespassed upon, and apparently the wife tried to stop him from going in there too, but he was like, no, I'm going to get this picture for our baby. Almost got your baby killed. Idiot. Moving on. I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast or not. I don't think so, because it happened while we were on break. But a couple of weeks ago, Nicki Minaj's father was killed in a hit and run out in Long Island, in Mineola. And he was hit by a 70-year-old guy who basically hit him.
Yep.
So they got out the car, saw he was on the street, and then drove off and hid the car in his garage. He didn't call 911. He didn't. He got
out the car, looked at it, then got back in.
Then got back in and drove off. He didn't call 911. He didn't alert anybody that there's somebody on the street. Nothing. He just drove off, kept it pushing. He picked the wrong person to do a hit and run on. Because little did he know it was one of the most famous people in the world's parent. So he was charged with
Karen.
A hit and run. I think, it was a criminally negligent homicide. One of them things. And so now the family is suing for $150 million in a negligent death suit. And, people, I read the comments because I'm stupid, because this is posted on News 12. Don't read the comments, guys. So I read the comments, and, people are like, they're asking for too much. They already have money. Why are they? Because you killed her father and drove off.
Yep.
That's it. I'm not sure what we're debating here. Like, hit and runs are very cut and dry to me. Like, if you hit someone with your car and you just drive off, you don't call 911, you don't check to see what happened, nothing. Because I'm like, could he have survived if some type of intervention had happened? Possibly. But we'll never know, because you just drove off and left the man on the street for dead.
Yeah.
So will the family get $150 million? Probably not.
Yeah, I think it's based off insurance, but you have to go shoot for the stars in case the insurance is high to make sure you get everything.
Yeah. I'm like, if they get 10, it still won't bring their person back. It still won't bring their family member back. But
yeah, it's just you gotta go high just in case the insurance tries to.
Because at the end of the day, their family member was killed and treated like trash on the side of the road by the person who killed them.
Yeah.
So run the Minaj's their money. Run them their money. They deserve. Because that's super messed up to have somebody die that way, just hit and run and somebody just drove off and it's
disrespectful.
It's wild disrespectful. Speaking of wild disrespect, so another local Long Island story. So there's a private school, a Catholic school out in Uniondale, St. Martin de Porres, I think it's called, where there's a story of an 11-year-old African-American, well, not African-American, he black, the family's Haitian.
He's Haitian, what does that?
Yes, yeah. Haitian-American. Young man who I guess was not working on the right problem or something in his classroom. And the teacher...
No, it's worse than that. He finished his job. He finished what he was supposed to do, and he was doing more.
And the teacher did not like that.
He was going over what he was supposed to do.
Yeah, he was going beyond the work that he was supposed to do, which IE tells me he's not intellectually being stimulated at the school in the way that he should be. But that's neither here nor there. The young man was being black and excellent like we are. And the teacher was upset that he was moving ahead in the work, and somehow this warranted a trip to the principal's office. I cannot fathom what about it warranted a trip to the principal's office, but you know, a kid actually sitting and quietly doing more work is somehow a problem. Like, can black people do anything? Can we just? So, you know, she sends him to the principal, and the principal apparently tells the boy that he has to get on his knees and apologize because it's the African way. My Africans, I know several of you from several countries. I've got Senegal, Sierra Leone, Nigeria, Ghana. Like, my African people, please put me on to this alleged African tradition where one kneels down and apologizes to a white man specifically.
The white man part, no. But I do know they do.
Yes, there is a kneeling thing. Yes, I've seen it. However,
respect for the elders.
I don't know about the kneeling down to the white man to apologize part. That's where I get a little lost.
Also, he's Asian. But
that part. So again, so it's like I don't.
Also, the principals assumed that he was African.
Like black has African descent, but not every black person's African. Okay, all right. So, you know, that happened, and so, you know, the little boy's 11, I think I said, and you know, he was very traumatized by this happening to him. And, you know, the mother is now putting him in therapy, and, you know, the principal has been suspended, pending investigation. And, you know, people are calling for the principal to be fired, calling for the teacher who sent him to the principal's office to be fired. And, you know, in the comments, which I read again, there were a lot of alumni from the school who were like, oh yeah, this ain't nothing. Like, basically confirming that there are a lot of racist actions that happen against black children that attend that school all the time that never gets addressed. I think the thing that was jarring to me outside of the actual incident happening was how when the son told the mother what happened, she almost was kind of like, not that she didn't believe him, but she was like,
because it sounds outrageous.
It sounds crazy. She kind of was like, bro, what? But after she had a conversation with the teacher or with the principal and they sort of confirmed that that's what happened, she was like, are you people serious? Are you serious? So, you know, now investigation is underway. A potential lawsuit is underway. I hope them people get that school for every penny they got. I hope that they reward those people handsomely for their pain and suffering, because kneeling down, what are we talking about? Huh? Just the whole thing. Me personally could not be Avery Zainab Zahara. Could not be. That school will be leveled to the ground by the time I'm done. Leveled. There will be no school. It will be the whole thing canceled. Because you have you had to see my face reading the story. I was like, I know I'm not reading what I'm reading. That can't be. Foolishness. Mm-hmm. And we could get into a much longer conversation about like educational facilities and like how they treat our children. We might do that another day because we'll be here forever talking about that.
Yeah.
Another thing that I wanted to talk about, completely unrelated to any of this, I saw a post on social media this week and it made me think, if you know, I wanted to get your thoughts. So a woman posted, men over 30 who are single and have no kids are a huge red flag. And I would like to know why they're a red flag.
I know where the sentiment comes from, but what she said is incorrect. I understand where the sentiment comes from. What they're basically saying is a guy who, I think her sentiment is basically saying when a guy is over a certain age and they've never been married before, they never have had kids, and everything, why is that? So I understand where the sentiment comes from. But she's incorrect.
Right, because
I understand which because it's basically saying
nobody wants you, so what's wrong with you?
It's not even nobody wants you. You haven't tried to be, or you never tried to be with somebody. Like it could be either way. It could be nobody wants you, but also you never wanted to settle down.
Right.
I don't know if 30 is the correct number.
Right.
But like you never wanted to settle down in all this time.
Right.
And so I understand what you're saying, but like I think saying no kids is incorrect.
Yeah, I kind of read it and was like, so do you want a married man with children? Because
No, it's just
if you're a single woman looking for a single man, why would him being single over the age of 30 be a problem? Is that not what you're looking for? Is a single man? Like, I
think her focus.
I'm confusion.
Her focus is more on the non-kids than the single.
And why would you want a man that had kids if you could avoid it?
Like I said, I understand the sentiment. I understand where she's trying to come from. It's basically saying
She's stupid and that's why she's single, but go ahead. Go ahead.
The sentiment, once again, is that it's like we always say, like trying to find a guy now over the age of 35 that has never been married before or never has kids is a hard thing.
Right.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's basically saying it is a hard thing to do. So someone who doesn't have that it's different than what's usually
But
done.
to call it a red flag, though?
Well, people call red flag is something it's not usual. It's something that's not. It's not common, and some people call that. Some people want something that's able to comprehend.
I guess I can think of multiple reasons why a man would be 30 years old and never been married or a child. There can be many reasons.
There are a lot of reasons for a lot of people, but it's because it's not a in her mind or people based on what she's supposed to. It's not a normal occurrence.
I guess
when it does happen, he's like, "Oh, why are you different from other people that I know?"
Right, and it's
so
like
I said, I understand where the sentiment comes from. Because people have said it, like I've heard it many times. People say like someone it's hard to find someone without a child and never married.
So in my mind, I would think if you found someone that met that criteria, you would be like, "Oh, this is great," as opposed to "It's a red flag."
Well, like a lot of times, if you finally find somebody a certain way that no one else if you've been looking around, if you haven't found it before, a lot of times the first thing is to be, this is suspicious because I've never seen this. Your first instinct is to be suspicious.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't be like on your guard with anybody.
But that's what a red flag is.
But like to me, I guess the language of red flag to me like is bothersome because to me I feel like red flag is like something really like alarming. Somebody not having kids or never being married is not alarming to me.
It's a question.
I have questions, but it's not alarming. Like to me, a red flag is like, oh, I don't know where you live. You only see me at certain times. I don't have your phone number. So like things that would make me be like, are you hiding something or is?
Well, that's how people feel about that because people want to know is. Why haven't nobody picked you? Like a lot of people have this view of like why hasn't nobody picked you up yet?
Right
after all this stuff, if you're such this great guy, and a lot of times people feel this way. If you're such this great guy, and you haven't been married, you don't have kids and everything, why is that?
Right.
Why hasn't? So
I understand the questions,
but that is exactly why people say it's a red flag. Like I said, I don't think. It's valid, but I see where the sentiment comes from. It's like, so you're telling me that you're a great guy. The person I might be attracted to you. You don't have kids. You've never been married. Why?
Right. Like,
what is someone keeps seeing in you that says, nah, this is not happening.
Right. Like, and I understand why that would be questionable and why you should be like, okay, so what's up with that? What's up with like whatever? But that's what
a red flag is to some people. That's what
I guess I don't look at a red flag as that. I look at a red flag as like suspicious things are happening or stuff isn't adding up or stuff just looks like funny. To me, in my head, I can kind of explain or understand or make sense of a person who is 30 or 30 plus and doesn't have children. I mean, maybe they've been in law school or medical school or something like that this whole time. So maybe they haven't really been dating because they've been focused on their career.
No, I'm not saying
maybe they don't. Maybe
it's definitely not a red flag to a lot of people, but I understand.
Yeah, maybe they don't have kids because they don't want kids. Like, I mean, to me, I can come up with valid.
I don't think that
reasons or answers for that.
It should be a red flag to everybody. Yeah. But when someone says that, I fully understand where it comes from.
I guess. I mean, I guess my perspective is that not what you're ideally looking for? Somebody who has no previous attachments to anybody. So why would that be a red flag? But I guess
because it's never it's hard to find.
Yeah, and I'm not saying
anything that's hard to find people will always be
like
very skeptical about it.
Okay, that's valid.
Anything
that's
that's
valid.
hard to find.
That's
That's
valid.
not. It's not a good thing
That's
to
valid.
see. Like,
That's
what's
valid.
going on?
I mean, I guess in my head, I feel like 30 is a little young to call it a red flag.
I think the age 30.
Now, if a dude is like 45, 50, then I'm like, okay, let's have some conversations.
30, 40.
Yeah.
Like,
but 30 is still like young to me.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll say 30.
Yeah, like that's
30 is
yeah.
low,
I feel like 30
low.
is just when people are starting to sort of like figure themselves out and get their lives together and whatever the case
30 is
is.
a little low for me.
Yeah, it's a little. I think you know what? That's probably what it is. It's like 30 just seems low to me.
Yeah,
because at 30, that's not impossible to find.
Yeah,
you know, because some men are like, I'm trying to do this and that before I bring a child into the world. I'm trying to do this and that before I seriously start dating.
They want to have a certain level of money and like
a certain level of like togetherness
before they get married.
Yeah,
or
so
have
to me,
children.
30 seems reasonable. That would be a possibility that you would experience meeting somebody like that.
30 is low, but I understand the sentiment for someone older.
Yeah, for someone older, I'd be like, all right, well, let's see what's up with you. What's the tea? What's the tea? The last thing we have on our agenda for today. So we didn't watch the Raekwon and Ghostface versus. I heard it was lit. I'm gonna go back and watch it.
We're gonna watch it.
We were out having a play date with Michaela and her son. I'm not gonna say his name in case she's uncomfortable with us saying that. So Michaela and her son, we had a play date with her and Avery, her son and Avery, and they had a good time. So by the time we got out of there, like first of all, this versus started on time because it said it was gonna start at 8 p.m. The verses don't never start on time. They advertise the time.
You sound so annoyed.
Because I was like, all right, bet. So we were getting ready to leave round about the time it started. So I was like, all right, bet. By the time we get in the car, get back to the house, like it'll be starting round about then. So I can get it. Because I don't like coming into a versus before, like in the midst or not right at the start. Because I feel like I'd be missing things and I'm not getting the full experience. So I went on at like 8:15, 8:20 just to see what was up. And they had started. I was like, what's happening? No.
And based off of those two personality, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I was like,
they do not care about followers. Those two don't seem like they care about followers. They care about views. They're like, I'm here to do my music. I'm
right.
chill with my friends.
Because most of the time, I feel like people be waiting for like more people to log on before they start.
Like, you like me or not? I'm not.
Right.
Raekwon and Ghostface don't come off as I'm worried about these views.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go back.
I'm worried about the record sales after this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and watch it. I was trying to do it last night, but I was like, I gotta wind down. I can't be watching Ghostface and Raekwon.
Hopefully, this wasn't a RZA inspiration.
Child, they both look great though. Like for his old, not to say they're old, but they're like grown men, and they both look very youthful and very like. Just in good health. They looked good. So I was happy to see that. The next one coming up is April 4th, I believe. And it's Earth, Wind, and Fire versus the Isley Brothers. I'm going to get my old lady life so heavy.
The next few, I'm very excited. I
need a fur coat for the Earth, Wind, and Fire Isley Brother ones. I need to get me a little fur. I need to go down to the thrift store or something, see if I can get me a little fur. Because I feel like that's the only way to watch that is in a fur. Because it's just luxurious. It's just classics. I got to give the girls a fur and a white boot. That's what I feel like I got to do.
My father's been getting around his whole life.
Oh, your father's going to get his whole life. You got to figure out how to get him on the verses. Because he's going to be in there just like... that's your dad all day long.
He's gonna get his whole life.
He's gonna be getting his whole life. The next couple are very exciting. It's Earth, Wind, and Fire.
I'm ready for that Redman versus Method Man.
And I think it's Redman, Method Man
on 420.
On 420, the How High special, very cute. And then they have 2 on Mother's Day weekend, but the names are blurred out.
Is that the only 2 that are shown? Or
those are the only 2 that are shown right now. And then there's a rematch on Memorial Day weekend. And I'm not sure who the rematch is with. It's blurred out. Who would they rematch though? Who do we think is worthy of a rematch?
They said it might be what's his face? Teddy Riley.
Teddy Riley and Babyface.
They said it might be that because like it just didn't go that well. And
Teddy Riley is now forever associated with Garbage Sound.
Yeah,
it's so sad.
Which is possible because like I don't know which other one which was like
speaking like just looking at the blur out.
The two ones that I feel as if like the people who were in it that felt like they didn't get to do it the way they wanted to. Mm-hmm. That would be Teddy Riley and the Ludacris Nelly. Because I feel like Nelly would probably like I want to do it over.
Yeah, the rematch for the Memorial Day weekend. If I'm going based on the blur outs, I feel like this first thing says Patti LaBelle. Because of the way the blur out in the middle is so small. But I'm like, why would Patty and Gladys need to do a rematch? It was perfect. I loved it. What would I need it? What would I need it for?
That would be a weird rematch.
That would be a weird rematch. But I'm like, I'm trying to think, like, what were the other ones they had to where I think a rematch is necessary? Because, I mean, if it's Beanie and Bounty, I'm ready to see that one again. They don't need a rematch, but I'll take it.
They don't need a rematch.
They don't need a rematch, but I'll take it. Because I went back and watched that one the other day, and I got my life again like I did last time. So, you know, I would not be okay. But I would not be mad at that. Ashanti and Keisha Cole don't need to do a rematch. I don't need to see that. Ashanti won. That's okay. That's point blank in the period.
Let me see. Yeah, Swiss Beats, Timbaland, Boy Wonder, Hit Boy, The Dream, Sean Garrett, Neo, John Austin, French Montana, Tory Lanez.
Oh, I missed that one.
Scott Storch and Manny Fresh, Ryan Tedler and Benny Blanco, T-Pain, Little John.
Oh, I would watch one of those again. That was great.
RZA and DJ Premier, Teddy Riley, Babyface, Erykah Badu, Jill Scott, Nelly, Ludacris, Bounty Killer, Beanie Man, 112, Jagged Edge.
They could do a rematch because
112 Jagged Edge.
That sound was garbage.
Yeah,
I couldn't even watch it. I turned it off. I was like, ooh.
And then you had
terrible.
Kirk Franklin, Fred Hammond, Alicia Keys, John Legend, Fabulous, Jadakiss, DMX, Snoop Dogg, Rick Ross, 2 Chainz, Brandy Monica.
Fab and Jada need a rematch because Fab came there way too drunk.
Yeah, but I don't think. But it was a good match.
I'm a Fab fan, so I want him to redeem himself. But yeah,
that was a good match, though.
Yeah, it was. So
like, I don't think they're going to do that because like it was good enough that people were like, okay, it was good.
I would like to see a Rick Ross and 2 Chainz one just with different energy because that energy was awful.
They're not going to do it over. They'll probably give Rick Ross another one. But
I know. They're
not doing it over.
Yeah, but I'm excited to see what else they have going on. Apparently they have like a new app now, Triller, that they're streaming it on as well.
That's what it was on last time.
It's not on the Apple TV anymore. So you know, we love to see black entrepreneurs get paid. And they sold the company to somebody. They sold Versus to somebody. I forget who. To Triller. That's what it is. I thought it was another company that they sold it to. It was Triller.
They sold Versus to Triller and gave everybody, and like they're on the board with Triller now.
Okay. And
they gave everybody who had a Versus already stake in Triller.
Yeah.
So they own a part of Triller too.
Okay, that's what's up.
It's pretty good.
That's what's up.
It's a pretty good deal.
Yeah. So that's what's happening. That's all that happened. We're going to go ahead and get on out of here because I feel like it's been 2 hours. I keep trying to avoid these 2-hour podcasts, and every week, here we go with the 2-hour podcast. Because we be getting into it on these topics. That's what the problem is. But that's it. That's it. Do you have anything else? Any other things you want to talk about? Any other things on your agenda? No? Yes, maybe? No? All right. Well, thank you all so much for listening. We appreciate y'all. We're going to go on and get on out of here and go do other fun things with our lives. This is super fun. We're happy to be here. We're glad that you're here joining us. And, we look forward to, continuing the conversation, comments and things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tell a friend so we can have some more people in here in the room.
Yep.
Come on.
We appreciate all y'all. Appreciate all the people on the Patreon.
In the room.
Go to our website. We actually have the shirts and everything on the All Love No Fear podcast website now.
Got the merch. We got the merch.
AllLoveNoFearPcast.com. You can go there, get the merch.
Okay.
If you have any problems or any questions, let me know, and we'll go from there. Anything else?
Nah, that's all I had. The only new music that came out this week was Benny the Butcher. He had a what's the word I'm looking for? A duo album. Sorry, not duo album. Why can't I use my words? It's because I'm hot. A collaboration album. I'm sorry, that's the word I was looking for. A collaboration album with Harry Fraud. It's called The Plugs I Met Too. And the cover on the front is from Goodfellas. No, I'm lying. It's not Goodfellas. It's a Godfather. Godfather 2. So yeah, that's what's happening in the world. So with that said, we are signing off. So until next time, we bid you adieu. Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
It's the All Love No Fear podcast.
Hey.
It's the All Love No Fear podcast.
Hey.
Check us out. It's the All Love No Fear podcast.
All Love
No Fear Media Podcast.